Men and Warriors. Today we're talking about supplements. So you might come across videos on YouTube which literally list out between 10 and 15 supplements that you need as a getting older woman. It's a load of baloney. Today I'm going to give you my top 2 that I would say are non-negotiables, and then I'm going to go through a few varieties or options that you might want to consider as your 3rd and possibly 4th and 5th if you feel that you fall into those categories and the criteria to take the extra supplements. But often many of us watch videos or we get some guidance and we end up buying these supplements because we think, well, we're probably deficient in it, but we don't really know because we've not had any blood work done. And all of a sudden you end up taking like a mass of supplements. Not only do you often not need them, it's not so great on your pocket, and right now we want to be saving every penny we can. And also some supplements you want to take consistently, other supplements you want to take just as a backup occasionally, and then you can come back off them again. So today I'm going to go through the top 2 that I think are absolute non-negotiables, and then the other options that you could consider your 3rd if necessary. We're going to go into why you might want to take these supplements and a little bit of science behind it, but easy science, so that you can really make a confirmed decision without having to go and get your bloods necessarily checked, because a lot of us, we haven't got time, or we don't want to, or we don't need to, or we can't afford to. So you might be one of those people who just has a good idea of where you're at, and you just think, maybe I need a little bit of a tweak here because you've got some pain in some aspect in your life, or you're uncomfortable in some aspect in your life. HRT is not part of this video, if you're wondering whether it will be or not. I've never taken HRT. I went through perimenopause myself early. I was done by the whole thing by about age 41. I'm now age 55. I am a psychotherapist, have been over for 20 years, and keep active and fit and focus very much on gut health and helping myself that way. You need to know that everything I suggest today is based upon you being quite a healthy human. So you're eating a wide range of fruits and vegetables, wide range of colors and different textures. You have access and you eat regular, healthy, lean protein, that you're relatively active, and in an ideal world, you are doing regular strength training. No matter what supplements you take, they cannot fix a bad or unhealthy lifestyle. So the supplements I'm suggesting today really will help to underpin an already healthy lifestyle, but might fill a few gaps that you might not be getting because of our depleted soils, because of environmental toxins, because of lack of sunlight, our life indoors as we tend to live it. So my first top ranking supplement, if I could not afford a single other thing in my life, this is the one that I would recommend you take. D3, vitamin D3, and combine that with vitamin K2, and I'll explain why now. Particularly in the UK, where we don't have a huge amount of sunlight, particularly during the winter months. If you're somebody who gets outdoors a lot in sort of spring, summer and autumn, you probably don't need to take a supplement throughout the warmer months of the year. But if you're somebody who you work in an office, you don't get out of your house very often, your apartment very often, and you just don't like being outdoors very much, and that's understandable because it's pretty darn horrid out there at the moment, then you might be one of those people that need a vitamin D3 K2 supplement. Vitamin D2 we tend to get through food, but vitamin D3 is what ultimately comes from the sunlight or ultraviolet light. And for many of us in the UK, we tend to be deficient. In fact, many people around the world tend to be deficient. It's not just us in more northern latitudes. Around the world, it is a problem. If you have darker skin, you can be vitamin D deficient because the vitamin D doesn't access your skin because the melanin in your skin, which gives it the darker pigment, acts as a barrier against ultraviolet light. And so you also might be more prone to vitamin D3 deficiency. And why would you take K2 with vitamin D3? Well, we often consider calcium as being something we might lack as we go through menopause. Often we don't actually need to take calcium. If you're eating a wide range of healthy foods, calcium is often a supplement that you don't need unless you've been instructed to take calcium by your doctor. However, K2 does make sure that the calcium that you're absorbing from your food or that you're taking in goes to where it needs to go. So it directs it to the bones, to the teeth, rather than to the soft tissues like your lungs and your arteries. When estrogen declines in menopause, your body tends to have fewer osteoblasts and more active osteoclasts. Osteoblasts are the cells that build bone, and osteoclasts are the cells that nibble away at dead bone cells and eat bone tissue. But the problem is we have more clasts than blasts, which is why we can be more prone to develop osteoporosis. So calcium becomes really important through menopause and beyond. But again, with that caveat that you often don't need to take a calcium supplement. Strength training and activity and gravity-based pounding like a rebounder, etc., is going to help to support healthy bones through menopause and beyond, not necessarily taking a calcium supplement. But vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium from your food, and without enough vitamin D, your body can struggle to use calcium effectively. So vitamin D does have an impact on your bone health, but also vitamin D does so many things for the body. It acts a bit like a hormone. It has receptors through the body, and that means it influences things like your brain and your mood. It supports neurotransmitters like serotonin, one of your feel-good hormones. It helps keep your heart healthy. It regulates blood pressure, helps to keep your vascular system in a healthy shape. It improves muscle function. It helps to keep your bones nice and strong. It regulates your immune system and supports nerve signaling. So vitamin D is not just about your bones. It literally has such a profound impact on your physical and your mental health, which is why it's my number one supplement that we all should be taking. And like I say, if you live in a sunny climate or you get outside in the daylight a lot, then it's something that your body actually does store up a little bit. So you might just want to take it through the winter months, but it really is dependent on how much outdoor exposure you get. My number two supplement, and I have spent the last few episodes talking about it, is creatine monohydrate. I will list the last previous videos that I've done. I did one on creatine monohydrate benefits for women in menopause in general, how it helps with menopause fatigue, how it can help with mental health and stave off depression, how it can help reduce the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease, and also how it can help us sleep more deeply and more effectively. Creatine helps the body generate effective energy. So whenever we do something in the body, it's using up energy, but even just thinking, even just living without thinking, even if you were just sat there, doing nothing, you're using energy because the body's keeping yourself alive. Whenever that's happening, your cells are using energy, and creatine helps the body use energy more efficiently and more effectively. I won't go into the details of that right now because I've covered it in detail in previous episodes. It really has an impact for women in menopause and beyond because it can help counteract things like brain fog, sleepless nights, poor bone health, lack of muscle mass, which you know if you strength train, it's so much harder to build lean muscle as you go through the menopause and beyond. Creatine doesn't have a direct impact on your bone strength, but because if you're doing strength training and you're building stronger muscles create stronger bones because they're pulling on the bones. Bones are living organs, so they are flexible and they are flexing every time you're using your muscles. So if you've got really good muscle mass, it has a direct impact on your bone health, and creatine helps you develop good, strong muscles. It also helps with brain energy metabolism, which is why it is being researched now to such a degree that they think it really helps with helping stave off depression or improve rates of recovery from depression, as well as reduce the risks of developing Alzheimer's plaques. Now, moving on to the third set of possible supplements that you might want to consider taking. Omega-3s are something you'll hear spoken about a lot, and unless you eat a lot of oily fish or omega-3 rich foods, omega-3s are a really good supplement to take. They are anti-inflammatory. They help support your brain health. Again, they can help reduce the risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's, by the way, falls under the dementia umbrella. Omega-3s can help with your heart health And we know what a big killer cardiac disease is of the population. So anything that you can do to maintain a healthy heart, a healthy brain, a healthy body that's not got high amounts of inflammation in it is going to really benefit you on every level. But very few of us eat enough omega-3 rich foods. Omega-3 rich foods are fatty fish, so herrings, anchovies, sardines, mackerel, salmon, trout, oysters. And then you have your vegetable-based foods high in omega-3s, things like flaxseed, chia seed, walnuts, and then flaxseed oil, canola oil, and soybean oil. Plant sources of omega-3s contain what's known as ALA, but then that has to be converted into EPA and DHA, which is the way the body uses the omega-3s to reduce inflammation. That means that the plant sources of omega-3s are not as readily bioavailable to the body as fish-based sources. So if you are a vegan or a vegetarian and you want to take an omega-3 supplement, you would look at taking an algae-based omega-3 supplement. For the omnivorous people and the pescatarians, then we can take a high-quality fish oil-based omega-3 rich supplement instead. The next supplement to chat about is magnesium, because so many people say you have to take, absolutely you should be taking a magnesium supplement. And I disagree. If you are eating a wide range of healthy foods, the chances are you've probably got enough magnesium in your body. Yes, as we go through menopause and our soils are more depleted these days, it might be that you could be on the lower side of your magnesium levels. And to be fair, a lot of people are deficient in magnesium. But if you eat a wide range of healthy foods, it's more unlikely that you will be deficient in magnesium. There are also lots of different varieties of magnesium. One thing you could do if you feel you are deficient in magnesium is to take a magnesium complex, which has a small amount of all of the different types of magnesium. I think the most common type really is magnesium citrate, but that can cause some digestive issues. You'd probably take magnesium citrate if you're constipated. But again, don't just rely on a supplement if you're constipated. Work out what's actually causing that constipation. Is it because you're not eating enough high fiber foods? Are you not drinking enough water? Are you not eating enough gut healthy foods, like the probiotics, maybe the sauerkraut, the kimchi, the kefir, the kombucha, those sorts of things. So if you're constipated, what is causing that constipation? It could be that you're on various medications that make you constipated. So magnesium citrate might be a healthy alternative to take. But again, if you're going to start taking a supplement and you're already on medications, which brings me back to the omega-3s, make sure that by taking a supplement, you're not going to interact negatively with the medications that you're already taking, because omega-3s and blood thinners do not mix. Next most common magnesium supplement is probably magnesium glycinate. That is more settling on the gut, but it can still make you regular. So if you have a tendency to be slightly constipated and it's just a natural thing for you, then magnesium glycinate is likely to make you a little bit looser in the bowel. It might cause a little bit of bloating, but it will also help you sleep. That's what a lot of people take magnesium glycinate for, is to help with sleep and just calming that sort of nervous fizz that you might get. Magnesium malate is great for energy production. So if you're struggling with low energy and fatigue, you might want to consider magnesium malate. Magnesium taurate is really good for your cardiac health. It helps to regulate blood pressure and is one of those that is really helpful as you get older. Magnesium threonate can actually pass through the blood-brain barrier and is thought it might help to support memory and cognition. So those are the main magnesium. However, also bear in mind that if you're struggling with sleep, it might be that you need to get outside into the ultraviolet more often or take a vitamin D3 supplement. It might be that you need to take one of the supplements I'm about to come on to, ashwagandha, which can help with stress reduction and also help you sleep. If you're struggling with sleep, what is causing you to struggle with your sleep? It's really easy to think, oh, okay, so magnesium glycinate might help me with my sleep, so I'll go and buy some. But what is causing the problem for you to sleep badly? If you're not deficient in magnesium, you probably don't need to take a magnesium glycinate. You might be better with a chamomile tea before you go to bed. You might be better with just good sleep hygiene, maybe eat a bit earlier, turn off the bright lights, have a cooler bedroom, have a thicker blanket to keep you feeling safe and secure, like an anxiety blanket. A heavy blanket can really help as well. So all these things, don't just think, oh, I don't sleep very well, so I need to take magnesium glycinate. Consider what is causing you to not sleep well so that you're making an informed choice. So just quickly to recap on those: glycinate, sleep; citrate, if you're constipated; malate, energy; taurate, heart; threonate, brain. The next supplement that I'd consider is curcumin. Now, make sure if you're going to get a curcumin supplement, because the marketing is so misleading, that it's not just turmeric. Because a lot of brands say, you know, turmeric, great for joint inflammation and joint pain, but they have very little or not enough percentage of curcumin in order for it to be effective. You want to look for 95% curcuminoids, which is a standard effective extract. It's often combined with piperine, which is black pepper extract, but curcumin can also interact negatively with blood thinners, gallbladder medications, and also some medications affecting liver enzymes. So again, just be mindful if you're on medications, get it checked with your healthcare provider before you add another supplement. But curcumin is generally taken as an anti-inflammatory and specifically for joint pain. If you've not got any inflammation or you've not got significant joint pain, because let's face it, through menopause and beyond, often most of us get slightly sore joints. I found the most effective thing for me was to cut out caffeine for a few months, and I had a vitamin E supplement that I took literally for the pack, and then once I finished the pack, I stopped. Make sure if you're taking a vitamin E supplement that it contains the 4 tocopherols and the 4 tocotrienols. That was enough for me to stop my joint pain. I used to get out of bed and feel like the Tin Man that hadn't been oiled. Once I cut out caffeine, just for a short while, now I drink 2 cups of coffee most days, or 1.5 cups most days. And I combined that with a vitamin E supplement. That did the job. And whatever it was, it just helped my body reset. And then I stopped the vitamin E supplement and I went back to drinking caffeine and no problems at all. A lot of people also take collagen and they swear by it. There's loads of marketing about how effective collagen is. But again, what are you taking collagen for? Because there are different types of collagen. Type 1 and type 3 is normally for your skin, hair, and nails. Do you actually need to take a collagen supplement for your skin, hair, and nails? Are you taking it because you think it's going to help improve them? Or are you taking it because you know it helps to improve your skin, hair, and nails? Collagen type 2 is what you would take to help reduce joint inflammation. It won't help you rebuild cartilage. Once your cartilage is damaged, unless you take something like chondroitin, which again is not proven to help repair cartilage, but there is a little bit of evidence that it might certainly be more beneficial than collagen type 2. But when you take collagen, the body then has to break it down into amino acids. It's not a full protein in and of itself, and it gets treated like any other protein. So it's not necessarily suddenly going to go to your joints or to your skin or your hair or your nails. If you're eating sufficient healthy protein and a wide range of fruits and vegetables, because they all have an impact, that is likely to be giving you your results rather than your collagen supplement. So maybe back it off for a while. And if you notice a difference and you think, oh, no, my nail health is terrible now, or my hair's going brittle, or it looks like it's just lank, then maybe go back onto your collagen supplement and see if it does have an impact. Same with your joints. If you suddenly think, oh, I've come off my type 2 collagen and I've really noticed a difference in my joints, well, then go back on it. Because you're not going to do any damage by coming off it for a short while. But most of us are on these supplements and we haven't tracked it before we took them and after we started taking them. And often, what the other things that we're doing are meaning that we actually don't need to take that specific supplement. For your skin, what matters more is a wide range of fruits and vegetables, lean, healthy protein, vitamin C, which you're going to get from a wide range of fruits and vegetables, and omega-3s. For your joints, again, omega-3s, strength training, your vitamin D3 and your K2, general movement, plenty of water, and possibly curcumin if you have something like osteoarthritis, where you've got significant inflammation within the joint capsule itself. I mean, collagen is not useless, but I think it is well overhyped. Next is multivitamins, because some people swear by them, but often if you actually look or analyze the back of the pack, many of them do not have the required amount to have any benefit for you at all. Most of them have suboptimal amounts of vitamin D3. Most of them don't include K2. They underdeliver on their magnesium. So multivitamins, they can help support a little bit of a foundation. But if you're eating relatively healthy food and living a fairly healthy lifestyle, you might not actually need to be taking multivitamins, because your food is providing you with all those vitamins and minerals that you need in any case. A lot of women talk about iron supplements, and once we've gone through the menopause, we no longer menstruate. So iron can be a supplement that can be important while we're still menstruating, particularly if you have heavy periods. Some of us can be a bit low in ferritin, and if you've had your ferritin levels checked, then you'll know. But you don't want to be taking an iron supplement, because you might have heard of ferritin and hair loss. There's a lot of things written and videos about hair loss now, and that you should be taking biotin, you should be taking ferritin, etc., etc. Not necessarily, unless you're absolutely deficient in them. And most people are not going to be deficient in ferritin nor biotin. Iron, if you're taking more than you need, actually has quite a negative impact on the body. It increases significantly the amount of free radicals, which means that you're increasing the amount of inflammation in your body. So it could be that if you're taking an iron supplement that you don't need, by removing that, all of a sudden your joints might start to feel better, you might feel less sluggish, and all of a sudden, by removing one supplement that you've been taking, it has a positive impact on a lot of different areas of your life. So iron is one of the few nutrients where more is not better. It can actually be quite harmful. So test first. If you've got low iron levels and you've been advised to take iron, then supplement. If you do not have low iron levels, you don't need to take it. One of my favourite supplements is ashwagandha. It's an adaptogen herb, and it helps the body to regulate stress, cortisol. Stress is also largely responsible for belly fat. Yeah, of course, if you're eating and drinking a lot of the wrong stuff, it's going to increase your fat all around your body, and also belly fat, because it's a stress on the body. But belly fat tends to be more of a cortisol related issue. And as we go through menopause, our body composition changes. We do have less resilience to stress, because our adrenal glands do the backup job of the ovaries. They do pump out some sex hormones, and we don't regulate our blood sugars as effectively as we used to do. And higher insulin levels also contribute to us gaining belly fat. So ashwagandha can help you sleep better. It can help you feel more at ease. If you're struggling with that just sense of anxiety bubbling under the surface, that can really help with that. You might be getting palpitations. Ashwagandha can help with that. It can also help to keep belly fat down, because it regulates your cortisol levels. It's one of those things you can take pretty safely long term, but again, with a supplement, I think just alternate it. Come off it, back off it for a while. If you're under a severe period of stress, then consider taking ashwagandha for a while, maybe 2-3 months, until that severe level of stress has abated, hopefully, and then come off it. And then, if you feel like you're going through another stressful period, then start to supplement with ashwagandha. It's a really safe adaptogen herb, but it's one of those that I think is, I take it every day, because the last 2 or 3 years have been quite stressful. I'm actually getting to the stage now when I finish the packet that I'm on now, I'm not going to take any more for a while, and I'm going to see how I feel on it, because with my creatine monohydrate, I really feel like my sleep has improved an awful lot. That and vitamin D3, K2 are the only 2 supplements I take every day. At the moment, I'm taking my ashwagandha, but once that packet has ended, I will not be taking that any longer. So I think that's helpful to know. You can back off it and then reapply when necessary. Ashwagandha will take sort of 2 to 3 weeks generally to build up, to start to have a beneficial impact for you. But it's definitely worth taking if you are going through a stressful period in your life. So often it's not the fact that you need more supplements. You need to understand what is causing you to feel in a certain way in your body so that you know what that root cause is. You want strong foundations and you want to make a considered decision as to why you might be adding a certain supplement in. D3K2 is what most of us probably need more of. And creatine monohydrate is going to support your cellular energy and work in the background. And it's something that you can take long term as well. The dosage for creatine monohydrate, I've gone into it in quite a lot of detail in my previous videos, but roughly 3 to 5 grams every day. I take around about 11 grams every day, just out of interest. I normally take about 6 or 7 grams before I do my workout, and then normally 3 or 4 grams before I go to bed. And I find that that works really, really well for me. So you need to find out what works best for you. If you have a sensitive stomach or digestive issues or IBS, go for the brand called CreaPure. It comes from Germany, has a slightly different method of processing. And if you're struggling, it might be that CreaPure is going to be better for you. It is slightly more expensive, but creatine monohydrate on the whole is a really low cost, high return supplement to take. So I'd be really interested to hear what supplements you take and also what dosage you take of your supplements. Do you firmly believe in, anything that we've covered today? And, I'd be really interested if you'd share that in the comments, because it's really helpful for other people to hear or read what is benefiting you as well. If you found it helpful, please give it a like, consider subscribing to the channel, and I hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for your company. If there's anything you'd like me to cover in a future episode, drop it in the comments below and I'd be glad to add that to my rotation. So take good care and I will see you soon.